So as you can see, we're getting back on the X-Men train with X-Men The Last Stand. They just don't know how to handle the Dark Phoenix saga, do they? Be it this one or Dark Phoenix, which we'll get to. You know, a little break the fourth wall thing here. Sometimes when I watch movies, I'll come in here and I'll sit there and I'll start talking about, the movie or what I'm going to say in my review. And I started talking about this movie, and as soon as I got to the Dark Phoenix part, it started transitioning into what they did with Dark Phoenix and became a full-blown off-the-script review of Dark Phoenix. I haven't really watched it yet. I could sit here and do a review on Dark Phoenix right now if I wanted to, but I want to rewatch it. Give it a fresh watch. So I'll only go as far as what they do in this film, even though it's almost exactly the same. So what's the story? After the last film, now the X-Men, still grieving from the loss of Jean Grey, are blown off guard when Magneto decides to launch an all-out attack on the human race because the humans have found a mutant who has the ability to cure mutants of their powers. And also, Jean Grey is back and she has the Phoenix powers. Sort of, kind of, not really. Remember when I watched this, got the DVD and I was watching it, as soon as they killed off Cyclops, I was like, what are they doing? As soon as Cyclops was gone. He wasn't he's the leader. I know that this was Hugh Jackman's franchise. I know that. But Cyclops is the de facto leader of the X-Men. You kill him off because Hugh Jackman's got to be the star, right? So we'll kill off Cyclops. We got Hugh Jackman anyway. He can carry the film. And he does. I'll give it to Hugh Jackman. He carries the film, but... So we get these flashbacks. First is a flashback to when Jean Grey was little. And they use CGI to make Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen young again. And when they do Patrick Stewart, it looks fine. Ian McKellen looks like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon character. Oh, what is your name? Hey, look at me. I'm Magneto. I'm a cartoon. Daffy Duck. What's your name? Mr. Duck. Daffy? Let's play. If Ian McKellen was a cartoon, there you go. But, yeah, Ezra X looks fine. About the same as they do in X-Men Origins, but Ian McKellen, cartoon character. See, McKellen is probably a little bit older than Patrick Stewart, so they set up this thing with the young version of Jean Grey, that she's the most powerful mutant in the world. And then they set up the story where he secretly blocked her powers because she was too powerful. Okay. The Dark Phoenix saga is one of my favorite arcs of there's two different arcs in the animated series. There's the Phoenix Saga and the Dark Phoenix Saga. And so when I saw the end of X2, I'm like, oh, they're gonna do Phoenix. They're gonna do Phoenix. I can't wait. And then we got this. Everything to do with the Phoenix in this movie sucks. Literally everything they do with the Phoenix in this movie is wrong. Everything. So with the Cure, I actually don't mind. It's a thing, right? Where it's that moral dilemma. If you're a mutant and there's a cure available to you, do you take it so you can be normal? Or do you keep your mutant pride and you don't take it? And Rogue, I always thought, because there's two different versions of her scene with Bobby at the end. They should have kept the original one. The original, the version they have in the film is that she went through that and she's human. But there's a deleted scene version where she didn't go through with it. And they should have went that route. Because in the end, it didn't fucking matter anyway when they got to Days of Future Past. Everybody had their powers back. And, yeah. So the Cure thing, the Cure storyline wasn't a bad thing. I don't think it was that bad. However, back to the Dark Phoenix saga we have in this. It's not even... First of all, it's not even the Phoenix. The Phoenix is an extraterrestrial entity from space. But this version is this thing, this force that is inside her. Her mutant powers that she can't control, it's inside her, causing her to become something else. I get that, but the way to handle it in this film is wrong. And they could have handled it better in Dark Phoenix, but they still fucked it up. In about the same way. A little bit more worse, I guess, if you put in context, Apocalypse, which we'll get to. But, it's just... How can they fuck up the Dark Phoenix saga so badly? How? And the one thing that I always hated is the way that Magneto treats Mystique after she gets the cure. So, they got these guns, they're made of plastic, so Magneto's defenses against it. And they fired there's this cure, they weaponized it, and they fire it, and Mystique jumps in the way and gets hit, and the cure hits her, she's cured. And so, right away Magneto's like, you're not one of us anymore, and leaves her behind. Bullshit. I understand that Magneto hates the human race. I get that. But this is Mystique. Mystique has been by his side through thick and thin, no matter what. She sacrificed herself to save him, or he would be human. And he just leaves her laying on the floor. She's not in the rest of the film. Bullshit. Magneto would not be like that. I understand he hates the human race, but he would not leave her, human or not, behind. He took down a whole truck to get her. Just to leave her behind because she got turned human? Bullshit. There is a connection between the two of them. He would have saved her no matter what. See, Bryan Singer took this franchise, and even though he didn't do it exactly right, he had his own way of doing things. And he left to direct Superman Returns, which I don't think is that bad of a movie, to be honest. So Brett Ratner, who directed the Rush Hour movies, took over. And he shit in our faces. He completely went over, he completely shit all over this movie and ruined it. Alright? He ruined it. He tried putting two different stories together that don't go together, and he didn't even tell one of the stories right. He had the Gifted storyline with the Cure, or the Cure, whatever, and then he put in the Dark Phoenix. And the Dark Phoenix stuff wasn't even Dark Phoenix stuff. It was just, he didn't know how to handle it. It was like Sam Raimi and Venom. He didn't want to have Venom in there to begin with, but Sony forced him to do it. Sony or Columbia, whatever, forced him to do it. And the result was a clusterfuck. Here, it's another clusterfuck because both storylines that really fit together, and the Dark Phoenix stuff, which should have been at the forefront, was pushed to the back burner until the climax where she just goes nuts and starts killing people. And it's up to Wolverine, of all people, to kill her. And I get that part. Wolverine has to kill the woman that he loves to save her. I get that. To save the world, he has to kill the woman that he loves. I get it. You know the one thing I actually absolutely love in this, besides Hugh Jackman? Kelsey Grammer as Beast, because they do Beast perfectly. He's upside down reading stuff, the way he talks. It's absolutely perfect casting. Absolutely perfect casting. It's a shame you only get one small little cameo from Kelsey Grammer in Days of Future Past. Otherwise, I'm not saying Nicholas Hoult didn't do a good job. He was alright, but they didn't present him in the same way that the Beast of this one was presented. It was perfect. Kelsey Grammer as Beast, perfect casting. Just like Hugh Jackman and Wolverine, perfect casting. So, let's talk about the elephant, or should I say Juggernaut, in the room. The meme heard around the world, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch! First of all, I love Vinnie Jones. You know, Euro Trip, you know. Oi! There with us! 55, 55. I absolutely love Vinnie Jones. And I've always liked the line, I'm the Juggernaut. You know who I am. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I love that line. And I love how he does boom into the wall. I love that. We'll say, oh, the Juggernaut. But Juggernaut was handled okay. Multiple Men, on the other hand, see where you have some good handling like Beast, Wolverine, or even Juggernaut, even though he's technically not. Okay, Beast and Wolverine are in the handled perfectly category. Juggernaut, Iceman, even Kitty Pryde could be in the okay category along with Magneto, somewhat. Characters handled terribly. James Madrox, aka Multiple Man. Jean Grey, Dark Phoenix. Put Halle Berry's Storm in the okay category. Colossus. Pyro's in the okay category too. And most of the X-Men are in the okay category. And Professor X. Let me explain. The whole, protecting her race from everything, it's something that Professor X would do. He would try to protect Jean. But killing him is where it pisses me off. He just smiles and he explodes. Why? Because he was supposed to be done after this? Okay. But then he comes back for a cameo in X-Men Origins Wolverine. And then at the end of the Wolverine. So, obviously they weren't done with this character. And they even set it up at the end. The post-credit scene where Moira, which is another character that they handled wrong in the prequels, which we'll get to. She's working on this patient, which supposedly is Xavier's twin brother. And so he gets that body. He puts his conscience in that body. Okay. Xavier did have a brother. It wasn't a twin. It was a stepbrother. His name was Juggernaut. He had a stepbrother named Cain Marko. Or Cain... Yeah, Cain Marko. His name was. And it was Juggernaut. But they gave him some twin brother so they can say he get his body back later. No. And why do I say that Multiple Man wasn't handled right? They introduce him on this thing. He's played by Eric Dane. They introduce him. And then the one big scene he has is where the government thinks they've tracked all the mutants down in the woods. And it's just him. He converts into one. And we don't fucking see him again. Ken Leung, I think his name is in this film. He plays a character who at first I thought was Spike from X-Men Evolution, which is a character I've wanted to see done, and they're not going to do it unless they reboot and put Spike in there. In the X-Men Evolution, he was Storm's nephew. He's not even playing, Ken Leung was not even playing Spike. He was playing a Quill? I don't know. And there were some other mutants in there. I didn't know who they were. and Moira in this movie is done the way she should be. She's a scientist. She's done right. She knows Xavier from a long time ago. It works. How they handle her in the prequels, we'll get to that. But yeah, overall, this movie is two stories pushed into one. They don't fit together at all. You have a nice, exciting climax with this bridge that Magneto moves. And that's like the best thing in this, is when Magneto picks up the bridge and moves it to Alcatraz so they can get this kid. It's perfect. And then we get the end that I actually kind of like. Magneto is, they do a thing, at the beginning of this, Wolverine has Colossus throw him into a, oh yeah, okay. They're in the training room, what's it called? The danger room. And they're doing this training exercise against a Sentinel. Now, okay, so Sentinels exist in this world. It's a cute little Easter egg. But then we get Days of Future Past, and they look nothing like that Sentinel. Why? I have a theory. They're the prototypes. Now, I'm not sure what they look like in the future, but the ones we saw in the past were the prototypes. I'll have to pay attention when I watch the future version, when I watch it in the future, to see what they look like, but the ones they showed here look perfectly like the Sentinels. So they repeat this. They say that Wolverine has today's work of the team. So they do. He has Colossus throw Wolverine towards Magneto. Magneto, of course, what do you never learn? I have learned. And here comes Beast. Hit him with the cure. Now Magneto is a human. This is This is great. Now Magneto has become what he's hated. He's human. He has to live with no power. He has to live with the fact that he's just an old man now. And he has to question his own mortality. He has to question everything he's done up to this point. Now he's a human, though the race that he's hated for all of his lives because the way his family was treated. And fuck that, he's getting his powers back. Yep, they do this tease at the end of the movie where he's playing chess and he uses his little finger and he makes the chess pawn move a little inch as a hint that the cure is not permanent. And then they just throw that all away for Days of Future Past anyway. This movie, in the continuity of this series, is nothing. The people had a bad response to this film, so they just decided we're going to scrap the idea of this film altogether and do Days of Future Past, and, we're going to do that, and we're going to erase X-Men The Last Stand. And it worked. With Days of Future Past, it worked. They saved the future. It worked. And then they did Dark Phoenix, so fucked it up again. But, yeah. Oh no, this movie's not too bad, but it's not the best. I think, I got one more thing to say before I give it a grade. Colossus. And Kitty Pryde, too, in a way. Kitty Pryde was okay, but I only knew her from X-Men Evolution. I never really knew what she was. Apparently she's big with the Days of Future Past arc, and she wasn't part of the 90s show, so I didn't know that. Colossus, though, I always thought that they were doing Colossus wrong. Because my version of Colossus I grew up with was on the animated series, and he was never directly part of the X-Men. He was an ally, but he wouldn't help them. Oh yeah, and Archangel's in this too. They call him Archangel, even though he's not Archangel, he's Angel. He's not Archangel until he's one of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Which happens in Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse. Not here, so he's just Angel. And Ben Foster, for what he's in, he's okay. But I really think they should have saved him for if they were going to do an Apocalypse storyline with the main X-Men characters. Wolverine and all that should have been involved in that, but he should be saved for that. Because he has a bigger story arc in the Apocalypse storyline. a tortured soul after being transformed into this thing. And we'll get to that with Apocalypse, because I got some stuff. So, all in all, this movie's a clusterfuck, but it's not the worst movie in a franchise. I'd give it a 6. A 6 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on X Men: The Last Stand in the comments below? Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you.